Of all the apps in the iPad, iMovie is probably the one I use the most. It enables students to be creative when sharing what they've learned, as well as provides a unique way for me to share information with students. There are loads of things iMovie can be used for, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on student presentations, parent communication, and fostering a flipped classroom model. One of the most obvious ways we can use iMovie is for students to make presentations. You're about to see a presentation that Abby made using stills in iMovie to explain plate shifts.
In 1912, a German meteorologist, Alfred Wegener, thought that the fit of continents wasn't a coincidence. He thought that the continents had once been connected as one large landmass. This guy must be crazy. Who the heck would think this? That's what most people thought until the fossils of the reptile Mesosaurus were found in Africa and South America.
A lot of our students have used iMovie as a way to make presentations of things they've learned. They've done weather reports in science, written scripts for and acted out conflicts for literature, and filmed documentaries of different time periods for history. What's awesome about this is it provides a neat way not only for students to ingrain what they've learned and show you what they've learned, but also to teach other students. The thing is that students who have smartphones can actually work on projects from school at home and then send the videos to themselves to incorporate into their iMovie. What you're going to see next is a trailer that Dylan made for his longer documentary about the women's suffrage movement. As you can see, Dylan and Abby chose to present information in really different ways. Dylan was able to use clips from the script he wrote to make it into a trailer, whereas Abby used stills to put together an informational presentation. That's in part what's so cool about iMovie, is students can use creativity to show information. Trailer function is really cool. I know a lot of teachers that use trailers to make book trailers for their classrooms. You could even consider putting together a video library of different book trailers for your classroom. Some make trailers about periods in history or scientists or even math functions. So it's a really cool tool that students love using. The thing about iMovie is students can actually use videos they made in other apps such as Toontastic or Chatterpix to put into iMovie to make one movie, or even to put together a video portfolio of things they'd had to make for a certain project or for a unit. Okay, it makes sense that students do presentations, but what can I do with iMovie? So glad you asked. So I love making iMovies or explain everythings for concepts I know I'm going to want students to have a strong foundation in. That way they can return to this video again and again if they need to. A good example of this would be like making a video about how to use a grammar skill kids are going to use over and over again, or a foundational math skill like dividing fractions that you want them to be able to look at and reference. Basically, iMovie and Explain Everything allows you to create a sort of reference library for students that want to review skills, or for making students review skills. The example you're about to see is part of a series I made called Comma Rules Rule, which was for my juniors so that they could review comma rules. It was also a great engagement piece so that they would be paying attention in the first place. We'd then usually follow videos by doing worksheets that involved the skills they had seen. What's really great about this is not only can students from this year review and reference it, but I will have these videos forever so I can reuse them in the coming years. Is this troll essential to our learning? Probably not, but it's still a part of my classroom. This troll is a non-essential part of the classroom. Just like the troll, many sentences have non-essential parts to them. These parts need to be set off by commas. But before we get to that, let's review some of our other comma rules.
Rule 1. Use commas to separate independent clauses when they are joined by any of the fanboys' coordinating conjunctions.
Rule 2. Introductory phrases, clauses, and words must be followed by a comma.
Today's comma rule is about non-essential clauses in a sentence. Here's the rule. Use a pair of commas in the middle of a sentence to set off clauses, phrases, and words that are not essential to the meaning of the sentence. Let's look at some examples. Arai, who makes great analytical connections, sang the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Notice that who makes great analytical connections is set off by commas. That's because it's not important to the meaning of the sentence. The sentence is talking about Arai singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Her making good analytical connections is just an added fact, making it non-essential. For that reason, we set it off by commas. I think you get the idea. I then go on to give clues to help them figure out what non-essential parts are, and I give them examples of how to put in commas when you see non-essential clauses. Notice that creating videos like this can help to create the ever-trendy and desirable flipped classroom. You could give videos like this for students to look at home and to review at home so that they can come into the classroom ready to work with you on problems and examples. What I'm going to show you next is a video a history teacher could use in a flipped classroom that students could watch at home to get context about Jamestown before coming in and learning new things. Let's start out with some facts. 1. It took months to cross the Atlantic Ocean, so anyone who wanted to be part of settling Jamestown would have to go on a 5-month journey to cross the ocean. Secondly, the trip over was miserable. There wasn't any variety in food, there were rats crawling on the food, you were on a cramped ship, the water was rough, it was just not a good time. When they got to North America, there would be climates and environments they'd never known, diseases they'd never been in contact with, and potentially hostile natives. Oh, and by the way, the last time Britain tried to set up a colony, the colony of Roanoke, everyone in it disappeared. Given this information, who in their right mind would want to settle or move to Jamestown? So again, you get the idea. Now, I used this actually at the beginning of the unit. I showed it in class with the students to give them some context and also sort of as an intro engagement thing. But you could easily show this at home so that they could get context at home instead of watching it at school. And again, what's cool is I have this forever, so I can use it in coming years. And also the students that I had last year could look at it at SIS and watch it again and again. Now, iMovie is also a really great way of getting parents involved and into classrooms without actually having to be there. So, for one, if you're sending movies like these home or having students have access to them at home, parents are also able to access them and see the kind of things their students are learning about. But one of my favorite things about iMovie and creating parent involvement is I can actually send clips home of what we're doing in the classroom and what their child is doing, so parents can feel like they're there without even having to be there. This has been tremendously popular with 6th grade parents, and it doesn't mean you have to put together or edit a full movie every week, but it is cool to have the option that when you're doing something in class you really like, you can send a quick 30-second clip home to the parents about it so that they can see it too. I'm sure also Allison would appreciate getting a hold of a lot of these. In this particular episode, we gave parents a glimpse into what our field trip to Luray Caverns was like, and their year-long project presentations.
But really, it looks so deep, doesn't it? Yeah, so look, it's reflecting the ceiling formation into the water. Because look how the shallow is. You guys
What's Pluto's ghost?
The ghost that three men who found, or three of the found, they thought that this ghost was following them around when really it was just a formation.
This is our second.
So we are in the last stop of the cave, and I'm about to turn off the lights, or when she tells me to turn off the lights, I'm going to turn off the lights so you can see what it was like when the first people who came in here had it. Except there's only one rule. 8 million people. No, don't die.
Yeah! What are you excited for?
The ropes course.
All right, get going.
This is so tight.
The tray with a little bit of the sand. You shake it in the water so that the sand dissolves into the water and then the stones are revealed. You don't want to dump the whole bag in there all at once because it will take a really long time and it'll just turn into a big bag of mud. And
I have quartz, polished stone, or polished wood, more quartz, a bit of geode, I think. It's amethyst.
Hopefully this gave you a good sense of ways in which iMovie can be used, both for students to present within the classroom and for you to reach out to students and parents outside of the classroom. Thanks and have a great day.